Let's talk about something that catches a lot of people off guard after a breakup. You've been in a relationship with someone who was emotionally avoidant. Maybe they pulled away when things got deep, resisted labels, or always needed space. And now that it's over, they come back with a smile and say, "I still want to be friends." Sounds kind, right? But let's pause, because this offer, while it sounds noble, often comes with a hidden cost. And if you don't slow down and really ask yourself what you need, you might say yes to something that quietly prolongs your pain. Let's be honest. If they struggled to give you emotional closeness when they were with you, why are they suddenly capable of offering you meaningful connection now that they're not? This isn't about demonizing them. People with avoidant tendencies aren't villains. They often mean well, but friendship after a breakup, especially from an avoidant partner, can sometimes be a way for them to feel better, not for you to heal. It's a way to keep access to the comfort and emotional presence you gave them without the accountability or depth they struggled with in a romantic context. They get the safety, you stay in limbo. Ask yourself this: is this friendship helping you grow or keeping you stuck? If you still have feelings, still want more, still secretly hope they'll change, then this isn't friendship. It's self-abandonment dressed as patience. And if you're afraid that letting go fully will mean losing them forever, then you're already not in a friendship. You're in a waiting room, a room they don't even know you're sitting in. So what do? You choose yourself. You say, right now, I need distance. I need time to heal. Maybe one day we can be friends, but not today. That's not rude. That's not selfish. That's self-respect. And ironically, it's often the moment you finally step away for you that they start to realize what they had and what they lost. But you don't do it to teach them a lesson. You do it because you finally learnt your own. When an avoidant ex offers you friendship after a breakup, it can feel like a gesture of maturity, even kindness. But often, it's not about what's best for you. It's about what's most comfortable for them. Avoiding individuals typically struggle with emotional intimacy. During the relationship, they may have pulled away when things got too close, resisted vulnerability, or maintained emotional distance, even in moments where connection was most needed. So when that relationship ends and they say, "Let's still be friends," it's easy to mistake that as growth. In reality, it's often an attempt to preserve a version of the connection that feels safe for them. You see, romantic relationships demand a level of depth and accountability that friendship does not. The expectations are different. In friendship, there's no need to show up in the same way emotionally. There's no requirement to make future plans, manage emotional conflict, or fully invest in someone else's feelings. For someone avoidant, this setup can feel like the best of both worlds. They get to maintain access to your support, your care, your emotional availability without feeling pressure to offer the same in return. This dynamic might work for them, but for you, it can quietly prolong the pain. Because while they've found an emotionally safer arrangement, you're still emotionally invested. The connection hasn't truly been severed, and part of you may still be waiting, hoping, watching for signs that maybe, just maybe, they've changed their mind. You're still in it, even if the label has changed. And the worst part, that sense of rejection and unworthiness you felt when the relationship ended doesn't go away. If anything, it deepens. Because now you're willingly accepting less than what you want, all while watching them stay comfortably close without the same emotional weight. It's important to recognize that this kind of friendship is rarely neutral. It's not a clean slate. It's often a carefully controlled dynamic that allows them to ease their guilt, to feel like they're being a good person, or to manage their fear of fully letting go. Meanwhile, you're left trying to act okay with being just friends when you're not okay at all. It creates an imbalance that keeps you emotionally stuck and them emotionally safe. If healing is the goal, clarity and emotional separation, not half-preserved intimacy, are what's truly needed, because you can't move forward while someone is still holding onto parts of you without fully choosing you. If someone struggled to offer emotional intimacy while you were in a committed relationship, it's unrealistic to expect that they'll suddenly become more emotionally available in the context of a friendship. Romantic relationships are by nature a deeper emotional bond. They call for vulnerability, consistency, and a willingness to let someone truly see you. When you're with someone avoidant, those needs often go unmet. They may shut down during conflict, dismiss your emotional expressions, or keep you at arm's length whenever closeness threatens their sense of independence or control. So when the relationship ends and they say they want to be friends, it can be tempting to believe that this new dynamic will somehow be easier, more open, or more fulfilling. But the truth is, emotional patterns don't vanish just because the relationship status changes. If anything, friendship becomes an even more convenient place for them to continue avoiding emotional depth. The expectations are lower, the stakes feel smaller, and there's no real pressure for growth. In their mind, they might feel they're doing something considerate, offering you continued connection, trying to avoid a harsh cutoff, but in practice, what they're offering is often just a diluted version of the same emotional limitations that hurt you before. And that can be incredibly confusing. You might interpret their continued presence as care or hope it's a sign they've softened emotionally. But if they didn't meet your emotional needs when they were supposed to be fully committed to you, why would they meet those needs now when they're under no obligation to? Friendship in this scenario is not a blank canvas for healing. It's often a softer repeat of the same cycle, one where they maintain distance while you stay emotionally engaged. It's also important to notice what kind of friendship they're actually offering. Are they checking in on you consistently, offering genuine support and emotionally showing up for you? Or are they reaching out sporadically only when they're lonely, bored, or need validation? Many avoidant exes maintain just enough connection to soothe their own discomfort about the breakup, without offering you the consistency or intimacy that would make the friendship meaningful or supportive. They continue to keep you close enough to comfort them, but far enough away to avoid responsibility. The dynamic becomes imbalanced. You keep giving emotionally, they keep taking in small manageable doses. This keeps them in control and you in confusion. Expecting emotional intimacy from someone who resisted it in love is setting yourself up for disappointment all over again. Agreeing to stay friends with someone you still have feelings for while secretly hoping they'll change their mind and come back is not an act of strength or emotional maturity. It's self-abandonment disguised as patience. You may tell yourself you're being understanding, that you're giving them space, that being in their life in any way is better than not at all. But underneath that story, what's often really happening is this. You're choosing their comfort over your emotional truth. You're suppressing what you really feel in order to stay close to someone who isn't offering you what you want. You downplay your own needs and boundaries, hoping that if you just stick around, prove your loyalty, or show how cool and non-attached you can be, they'll eventually see your value and change their mind. But the painful truth is that the longer you stay in that role, the more invisible your needs become. To them and to yourself, this kind of dynamic is emotionally exhausting. Every interaction becomes a performance. You smile when they talk about dating other people, pretend you're fine when you're not, and constantly monitor your behavior to avoid seeming too emotional or too much. You silence your heartbreak to keep access to someone who has already made the decision to step away. And in doing so, you delay your healing. You trade your own peace for proximity. What's worse, you might start to confuse endurance with love. You believe that if you can just hold out long enough, endure the pain long enough, they'll realize they miss you. that this friendship is a stepping stone back to the relationship. But that illusion keeps you stuck in emotional limbo, a place where your feelings are never validated and your hopes are never fully realized. You're emotionally invested in someone who is investing back in the same way, and that imbalance chips away at your self-worth over time. It's not that wanting someone back is wrong, it's human. But putting your own emotional well-being on hold for the chance they might return is a form of quiet self-neglect. You start prioritizing their presence over your healing, their comfort over your clarity, their approval over your truth. That's not love, it's fear in disguise. Fear of letting go, fear of being alone, fear that if you walk away, they'll forget you. But if staying costs you your self-respect, it's not patience, it's pain you've decided to normalize. Healing after a breakup doesn't happen in the presence of recycled intimacy or blurred lines. It happens in distance, in space, in silence that finally allows your emotions to breathe without interference. When someone who broke your heart still wants to be close as a friend, it can feel comforting at first. Their presence feels familiar. You don't have to face the full weight of their absence all at once. But comfort is not the same as healing. Closeness can feel safe, but that safety often comes at the cost of your emotional clarity. When you're still talking regularly, texting casually, or even seeing each other under the label of just friends, you're not allowing yourself to fully process the ending. Instead, you're living in a kind of emotional gray zone. A half relationship where the pain doesn't fully stop, but the growth doesn't fully start either. You can't grieve something you haven't truly let go of. And you can't move on from someone who still feels like part of your daily emotional landscape. Even when the friendship seems innocent on the surface, what's really happening is that the emotional tie remains active, still scanning their words and actions for hidden meaning, still wondering if they miss you, still hoping they'll come back. That's not friendship. It's a state of waiting. And waiting is the enemy of healing. You don't get stronger by staying close to what hurts you. You get stronger by creating space for yourself to feel it, learn from it, and eventually rise above it. Emotional separation is what allows your nervous system to reset. It's what gives your heart time to recalibrate, to stop craving the dopamine hits of connection from someone who once mattered so much. Distance isn't about being cold or bitter. It's about giving your heart the room it needs to let go of what it once held on to so tightly. When you're constantly pulled back into interactions, even friendly ones, you're opening wounds that need time and space to close. The longer you stay entangled in that post-breakup friendship, the more you postpone the life that's waiting for you on the other side of grief. Healing doesn't happen by slowly tapering off the relationship. It happens in the quiet moments when you're finally honest with yourself about what this connection is no longer giving you and who you're becoming without it. The real breakthrough comes not when you try to stay connected and strong, but when you're brave enough to disconnect and heal. Choosing space after a breakup isn't an act of revenge or cruelty. It's a form of protection. When someone you cared about deeply, especially an avoidant partner, offers you friendship, it can be tempting to accept it in the hope that it softens the blow or keeps a door open. But maintaining that connection often means sacrificing the very boundaries that are necessary for you to begin healing. Stepping back isn't about punishing them, it's about choosing you for the first time in a dynamic that may have often centered their needs, their distance, and their comfort. Avoidant individuals tend to withdraw when emotional intensity rises. They may crave connection, but only on their terms. So when the relationship ends and they say they still want you in their life, that offer is usually about soothing their own guilt, easing their loneliness, or preserving some version of emotional security without the vulnerability that commitment requires. In many cases, it's not that they miss you in the way you want to be missed. They miss your presence, your emotional support, your reliability. But you are more than a safe space for someone else's unresolved emotions. By creating space, you're not rejecting them. You're refusing to continue playing a role that slowly wore you down. You're no longer interested in being the emotional cushion while they navigate their own discomfort. And while it may feel scary to cut off contact or say, I need time away, it's in that very condition that your self-worth begins to reassemble. Every time you choose your peace over their proximity, you reinforce the idea that your healing matters more than their convenience. Often, when you finally step back, that's the moment they start to feel your absence. But here's the key: that cannot be your goal. If your intention in creating space is to make them realize something or win them back, you're still giving your power away. True protection isn't strategic, it's sincere. You take space because your heart needs it, because your energy deserves better, and because your future self is depending on you to draw that line. Letting go of a post-breakup friendship doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough about yourself not to stay in an emotional arrangement that keeps you stuck. Protecting your peace isn't selfish. It's the clearest sign that you've finally stopped hoping they'll choose you and have started choosing yourself. So if you're standing at that crossroads right now, wondering whether to accept friendship from someone who couldn't meet you where you needed them before, pause, ask yourself, is this relationship dynamic honoring your heart, or is it just keeping it quietly occupied? Sometimes the strongest thing you can do isn't to hold on with grace, it's to let go with clarity. You are not here to be someone's emotional safety net. You are not here to manage their discomfort while neglecting your own. You are here to grow, to heal, and to make space for a love that chooses you fully, without fear, without hesitation, without needing to be watered down into a friendship just to stay alive. Your peace is not negotiable. Your healing is not a side quest. It's the main journey. And it begins the moment you stop chasing mixed signals and start responding to truth. Thank you for giving your heart the space to hear this message, for being brave enough to consider a different kind of strength, the kind that walks away not in bitterness, but in self-respect. Take care of yourself, honor your healing, and remember, the version of you that rises from this will not settle for halfway love again. Thank you for listening. Be kind to yourself. You've got this.